Hey, so let's be clear right up front. This video is not for every factory or manufacturer out there. If you're impatient to close down your own factories and outsource all manufacturing, pinching pennies on anything beyond the next quarter, or if you're convinced that you can modernize your infrastructure entirely in-house without external guidance, or that some large technology vendor or hyperscale cloud platform is going to bring you this magical instant solution to all of your concerns, this probably isn't for you. But if you're a factory owner, an operations or IT director, part of the leadership team of a mid to large size enterprise, and you're feeling the pressure of obsolete systems that are holding your operation back, you're in the right place. We work with organizations that are mission driven, curious, collaborative, and ready to invest in long-term modernization, even if that journey feels complex or overwhelming right now. These are companies that understand the stakes, lost market share, disjointed teams, unreliable systems, and increasingly dissatisfied customers, not to mention dissatisfied workers and players within your organization. They often operate in complex environments with high regulatory pressure and are facing generational shifts in leadership and know-how. These companies know that continuing with business as usual is not only unsustainable, it's actively costing them, especially considering the burden of compliance and quality management. You know what I'm talking about. The nightmare of paperwork and bureaucracy whenever something needs to be changed. I remember a couple of different clients over the last 5-10 years who felt that the only way that they could actually make progress was to do nothing, that they were left with legacy technology and that was a bad thing. But at the same time, the market was shifting around what they were delivering and what their customers felt valuable. And see, in the one case, which was a very large chemical manufacturer, they were actually losing market share because other competitors were able to provide a better experience, better quality of service, a better user experience to their own customers. And what was required was a leap of faith. They needed a maverick to come in and to connect the dots, because what was holding them back was siloed thinking, a reliance on old ways of working without actually understanding the intention behind the original purpose. Not only were we able to connect and digitize an application that had previously relied on pen, paper, manual note-taking, and then transcription of manual notes in a notebook into Excel spreadsheets. We were able to take that and turn it into a system that automated data collection, data normalization, data transmission, telemetry, and then obviously empowered different teams within the organization to create a fit-for-purpose application. And we did this together. This isn't me as some technology vendor coming to you saying you need to buy my product or subscribe to my platform. It's about unlocking what you already know but have forgotten about or have hidden in different silos where there's very little or zero collaboration. And it's that one thing that unlocks progress. It's about making a leap of faith where something old can be used with something new. Because I believe that even though it's old, it's not necessarily obsolete. There was a time when I believed that anything old or outdated in manufacturing as well as enterprise IT had to go. I used to badmouth obsolete systems, convinced that the only way forward was shiny, turnkey, plug and play, rip and replace solutions. But I was wrong. Even when I delivered the best technical solution, the transformation didn't stick because the organization itself wasn't shifting. The common ground we started with would dissolve, and the results, well, they just wouldn't last. And that's when it hit me. The real issue wasn't just obsolete machines. It was lost institutional memory, disconnected systems, and a lack of organizational alignment. And I started to notice something else too. The words we use, like sustainability and legacy, had been diluted. Sustainability wasn't about long-term resilience anymore. It had become a buzzword, more to do with environmental and social goals as opposed to the actual longevity of the enterprise and of its purpose and what it makes and what value customers actually get from using the products that are made. And legacy, well, it was treated like baggage instead of a foundation. True legacy is about carrying forward what's valuable. It's about preserving what's still working and integrating it with what's next. It's about providing something that the next generation can use. It's about having generational continuity. And that insight shifted everything for me. Today, I see my role as the guardian of institutional knowledge, helping organizations uncover the forgotten knowledge embedded in their systems, reconnecting siloed departments, and using strategic connectivity to build a sustainable, modern operation, something that stays modern. This isn't just about technology. It's about transformation that sticks. For years, the dominant belief in manufacturing has been, if it's outdated, rip it out and replace it. And this mindset leads to million-euro investments in brand new systems that take years to implement and never deliver the promised return on investment. Not to mention, it creates disruption, resistance, and often reinforces existing silos instead of eliminating them. Full replacement is expensive, disruptive, and often unnecessary. Here's the truth. You don't need to start from scratch. You need to realign what you already have with smarter connectivity and intentional modernization. Modernization isn't a shopping spree. It's a strategic shift. What I teach is a new way of thinking. Use the infrastructure you have, focus on alignment over replacement, embrace the knowledge and systems that already exist, and layer innovation on top of that. The result, lower costs, higher buy-in, faster implementation, and sustainable change that actually sticks. This isn't just an upgrade, it's a mindset shift from chasing shiny tools to building intelligent, long-lasting systems. And even if you have forgotten some of that tacit knowledge that exists within your organization, that can also be reconstructed. It's a little bit like performing an archaeological dig, some ancient civilization that has died out, and the only things that remain are some artifacts that are buried in the ground. Well, imagine your factory floor and some of the very old machines, filing cabinets that contain papers that are 30 years old. And you know what? You'll probably also find that there are some people that are still within your organization that are in their corner, that have kept their heads down, that are probably within a siloed team that don't get a chance to really interact with other older senior members of other teams because everyone's in their silo. And what's truly powerful, and this is where that mindset shift is really compelling, is when we can bring people who were there, who have first-hand knowledge of some very old things, and we can tap into that when it comes to reconstructing what has been forgotten. But look, even if the people aren't there anymore because you've gone through a merger or acquisition, there's been some very profound reorganization, there's been a change of leadership, change of shareholding. It's okay. There's always a way to be able to assess the status quo, look at all that old stuff that's there, and that will then help you unblock what is holding you back. My method is called the Legacy Lift, a 4-step framework to elevate your infrastructure and your organization. Number 1, recover the knowledge. We start with deep discovery. Before any technology decisions are made, we uncover what's already known and what has been forgotten. This includes legacy system audits, interviews with veteran staff, as well as newer hires. Understanding undocumented workflows. Often, the missing link isn't in the machine, it's in the memory. Number 2, we reconnect the silos. We bring departments back into alignment. IT, operations technology, operations, and finance often work in isolation. Misaligned priorities lead to expensive disconnects. So we create cross-functional project groups, shared digital workspaces, translational protocols that help teams speak the same language, very much like Champollion did by decoding the Rosetta Stone and unlocking and understanding what Egyptian hieroglyphics, a long dead language, was all about. You've probably got some of these tools in place already. We're not talking about creating a whole new shared digital workspace, but it's about creating the right channels, the right groups, the right experience that allows your organization and the different teams within it to benefit from having common ground, understanding and being understood. This stage sets the foundation for collaborative transformation. Number 3, reinforce the infrastructure. Once alignment is achieved, we modernize, but never recklessly. We focus on selective retrofits, adding data acquisition and interoperability to existing systems, leveraging open source or modular solutions, paying attention to components. We're very mindful of what is immutable, what are hard constraints, as well as what can be replaced more easily. We'll often find that in the smaller level of detail, that there are oftentimes small components that will actually have a huge payback when they are modernized first. And so it's all about prioritization. This approach protects past investments while unlocking new value. Number 4, we rebuild for sustainability. So finally, we build systems that last. And this involves documenting institutional knowledge. And more importantly, it's about having the transfer of institutional knowledge, tacit knowledge, institutional memory. There's a number of different ways we can call this, but it's about being able to share, continue to share, transfer, so that future generations carry this institutional knowledge with them. This is the most vital thing. It goes way beyond just simply documenting it. It's about making sure that what is documented aligns with what can never be documented, what is always up here as a context or as a heuristic that is inside people's minds. It allows us, again, to understand each other, to be understood. We create maintenance and governance plans. So this is about how, again, different functions within the organization are going to work together and to have a clear balance between what is top down, what's bottom up, what happens in the middle. Your staff are trained cross-functionally. So there is a cross-functional system approach where previously skills or expertise that was tied up, for example, in an IT department, are also present inside your automation and process control teams and the folks who maintain the actual machines that are on your factory floor. And likewise, IT people step away from being laptop warriors only, that they have a strong affinity for the types of computing and network infrastructure that is found on the factory floor, that they're familiar with hardware again, that not everything happens in this abstract, nebulous cloud infrastructure that is owned by a hyperscaler and you never get to actually walk into the data center. We've lots touched with actual real on-premise systems, and yet your factory has so many examples of devices, of connectivity, and of actual physical hardware that it would be dumb not to actually have people that deal with data and deal with systems infrastructure, IT systems infrastructure, actually also be familiar and conversant with this. See, sustainability isn't just about technology. It's about building organizational muscle memory. And Legacy Lift is not a quick fix. It's a long-term elevation plan for manufacturers that want to lead for decades and stay relevant over the very long term. So one client of mine, a chemical manufacturer, was losing customers due to outdated manual service delivery processes. And these were the guys that were still using notebooks and were taking manual readings when they were actually at their customer's site delivering a really important service. And despite multiple internal attempts to digitize, nothing stuck. I helped align their internal business unit, their IT department, and support functions, as well as other external contractors, by introducing smarter connectivity and non-disruptive retrofits to their instrumentation. And the outcome? They were able to regain customer trust, they re-established a competitive edge, and they reduced service errors and downtime. And in fact, we're able to take their service to new markets geographically and reclaim legitimacy in front of some very difficult customers in some markets that had been taken over by their biggest competitor. Another client, a water technology company, was attempting to pivot their business model towards digital services. And I helped them design and implement an embedded nano gateway that connected their devices to their own cloud platform. And technically, it worked beautifully. But internally, misalignment and corporate politics prevented true adoption. And the lesson there is that technology is only as effective as the organization's ability to embrace it. And that's why alignment and governance are central pillars in the legacy lift framework, and also why it's important to work with multiple stakeholders across the organization, from the very top, from leadership, all the way down through to your actual IT engineers and experts, developers, maintenance technicians, field service agents, people that are involved in frontline work. And this applies to all layers of the organization and the enterprise. So if this message resonates, let's connect. Book a call, a 30-minute call, free call, using the link below. We'll explore where you are now, where you're stuck, and whether the legacy lift is a good fit for your enterprise. And if now isn't the right time, no problem. Just join the waitlist and you'll be the first to know when the next cohort opens. Either way, don't let your knowledge, systems, and people drift further apart. Let's build a smarter, more connected, more sustainable operation together. Let's lift your legacy and build something that lasts. Your customers will be delighted. Your organization and your people are going to feel so much more empowered. And when it comes to removing all of that fear and dealing once and for all with the trauma of obsolescence, you've got this.